Good afternoon, everyone. A very happy MSME Day. Welcome to today's program. Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise MSME Day was marked by the United Nations in the year 2017. Since then, MSME Day has been observed on June 27th every year to recognize the contribution of these industries in the implementation of sustainable development goals and in promoting innovation, creativity, and work for everyone. MSMEs account for 90% of businesses, 60 to 70% of employment, and 50% of GDP worldwide. Due to their significant contribution to the economy, MSMEs are essentials for innovation, job creation, and productivity. As the backbone of societies everywhere, they contribute to local and national economies and to sustaining livelihoods, especially among the working women and youths. This year, the International MSME Day is being observed today under the theme Resilience and Rebuilding, MSMEs for Sustainable Development. The COVID-19 pandemic has taught us that the crisis and containment measures do not impact everyone in the same way. Hence, resilient recovery is the focus of this year's event. In India, the Ministry of MSME has implemented various schemes and programs to promote women-owned and women-centric enterprises. India is home to over 6.3 crore MSMEs that contribute almost 30% of our country's GDP. This shows the importance of MSME sector and its vital role in driving our economy. Hence, MSMEs are considered to be the backbone of India's socio-economic development. As part of MSME Day celebration, SIRC of ICAI, in association with the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, has planned today's program. Today, we will be hearing from our SIRC Vice Chairman and Chairman MSME Committee of SIRC CA Pannaraj Sir, SIRC Treasurer CA Sundarajan Sir, Regional Council Members CA Rekha Umashiv Ma'am, our beloved Central Council Members CA Rajendra Kumar Sir and Shri Priya Ma'am, eminent personalities from Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, higher officials from MSME and other subject experts who will be sharing their thoughts and ideas. Before we move on, let us start today's proceedings with the invocation of ICAI. Let us all raise for ICAI motto song. Thank you. May I now request CA Pannaraj Sir, Vice Chairman SIRC of ICAI and MSME Committee Chairman. This is the first time we have constituted MSME and Startup Committee at a regional level. May I now request Pannaraj Sir to formally welcome the gathering, both online and offline. Over to Pannaraj Sir.
Hello, am I audible, please?
Yes, sir, audible.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. The esteemed Central Council members, the esteemed colleagues in the Regional Council, and the esteemed members of the Institute, and also the distinguished guests on the dais. Sir, as already pointed out by the initial speaker, that this is the 27th June is celebrated as the International MSME Day because of the importance of the MSMEs in the economic development, and also the GDP contribution and the contribution to the employment generation. So, and this today is the first of its kind in the SIRC because this committee for MSME and startup is formed in this year only. And this is the first meeting on MSME, and we are celebrating today the International MSME Day. A warm welcome to you all in general, and I wish to invite the experienced and erudite Central Council members, Rajendra Kumar sir and Shri Kumar madam. Both of you, a warm welcome to you for virtually, and also the regional council members, my colleagues in the council, Mr. Sundar Rajan, Rekha Shiv, to this meeting. I also warmly welcome the president of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, Mr. K. Suresh. Thank you very much for accepting our offer to host this program jointly, sir. Suresh, sir, a warm welcome to you on behalf of SIRC of ICAI. I also warmly welcome the speaker from our fraternity who is speaking on the CA's business solution providers for MSMEs. CA Subashini Ganapthi madam, very warm welcome to you. Here I wish to quote one small quotation about the role of CAs. It is not a cost, but an investment to select a best CA. This is said by Bardhan Bank, the CEO, Mr. Shekhar Ghosh, to MSMEs news item on August 1st last year at New Delhi. And this is what is the topic that will be dealt with by Subashini madam. A very warm welcome to you, madam. And a speaker on a theme introduction is being done by Rekha madam. MSME central government schemes will be dealt with by Shri Gadde Ravi, IEDS Joint Director. A warm welcome you to sir. I think he has joined virtually, is it? Not on the dais. And Mr. Sudhanidhi PV, Senior Manager, Bank of Baroda. He will be handling the very important aspect of MSME funding. And a warm welcome to you, sir. And also the other invitees and the attendees from the members of the Chambers of Commerce, Traders and Industrialists. A warm welcome to you all. For your information, today, all the 164 branches across the country of ICAI and also the 5 regional councils are conducting this program because of the paucity of time and engagement with other programs here. I could not physically come, but I am very happy to welcome you all to this international maiden function of on International MSME Day. A warm welcome to you once again and thank you.
Thank you, Panaraj sir. We have a special message from our beloved ICA President and Vice President on this MSME Day celebrations. Let us hear from them. Over to our technical team to broadcast that video message from our President and Vice President.
Dear colleagues, today we are celebrating International Day for MSMEs, and I, on behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, congratulate all of you for being part of this special occasion. As per the report, MSMEs contribute 6.11% of the country's manufacturing gross domestic product and 24.63% of the GDP through services activity. CAs are business solution providers for MSMEs in fulfilling the objective of self-reliant India. Development of the MSME segment is paramount to achieve the objective of Atmanirbhar Bharat, rural economic development, employment generation, and for poverty reduction. Small and medium practitioners are the mainstay of the chartered accountancy profession, empowering the MSMEs across the country. As a total business solution provider, chartered accountants are equipped with all essential expertise. Our SMPs are working across the country with MSMEs to improve their competitiveness by enabling them to adopt best management practices, leverage government schemes, and bring in innovations to make India a global production hub. To facilitate the members to get involved in this area, Institute is launching ICAI MSME Setu program, where ICAI, through the Committee on MSME and Startup, will establish the linkage between ICAI and prospective MSMEs in aspirational districts as a key strategy for enhancing the productivity and competitiveness as well as capacity building of MSMEs. Today, ICAI is also launching MSME Yatra, wherein in 75 days, 75 programs will be organized in various parts of the country for capacity building of MSMEs. Friends, I once again congratulate you on this occasion and urge you to get involved in the MSME related programs of the Institute.
It is said that small businesses are the lifeblood of our economy. The micro, small, and medium enterprises, popularly known as MSMEs, have undoubtedly played an integral role towards the inclusive growth of our country and have touched the lives of millions of citizens. They contribute more than 30% to India's GDP. Our members too are largely in the small and medium practice area, and their clients also are largely MSMEs. To commemorate their incredible contribution towards transforming business ecosystem, the United Nations declared on June 27 as World Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Day, that is the World MSME Day, in the year 2017. Since then, this day is observed to mark contribution of these industries in implementation of the SDGs. When the pandemic ravaged the entire supply chain, the MSMEs exhibited utmost resilience and have evolved and digitized their processes significantly by adopting new age financial products. The government of India has been extremely supportive towards promoting the growth of MSMEs by introducing several financial benefits and subsidies targeted to MSMEs. When the country aspires to become a $5 trillion economy, the government at the center and state levels are taking enormous number of steps to ensure that the MSMEs have a huge role to play in this $5 trillion economy dream that India has set for itself. ICAI, as a true partner in nation building, has always supported the initiatives of the government by propagating them amongst the 3.5 lakh chartered accountants and over 8 lakh students that we have. I call upon all of you to join hands with the Committee on MSME and Startup of the ICAI to promote MSMEs and the schemes related to MSMEs to create further professional opportunities for our members. I once again congratulate each one of you on this occasion and expect enthusiastic support towards the initiatives of the Institute, as we have always been a partner in nation building and ensure that the activities of the government are propagated through our branches and regional councils. I once again wish all of you a very, very happy MSME Day.
Thank you, President and Vice Chair.
MSME startup. I extend my best wishes to all of you on International MSME Day. And I extend my sincere thanks to all and every stakeholders of the MSME for celebrating International MSME Day on this 27th of June. And my committee for MSME startup. And we are happy to share that more than 100 programs are being conducted across the country today under the ECO, the committee for MSME and startup. MSME sector contributes significantly to the economic and social development of the country while fostering entrepreneurship, generating employment, and by acting and ancillary to the large industries. The government has prioritized this sector in the recent year as they are considered crucial in achieving the objective of $5 trillion economy by 2020. Achieve this basket of the scheme has been rolled out over the years by the central government. The primary responsibility of promotion and development of the MSME in the is of the state government is like in the chart. However, the government of India supplements effort of the all state government through various initiatives. The role of MS and its organization is to assist the state in their effort to encourage inclusive employment and livelihood opportunities and enhance the competitiveness of MSME in the changing environment. And employment generation capabilities, the MSME are considered to be the backbone of the national economic structure. I extend my sincere thanks to the all dignitaries from the central and state government, giving to their concern across India, and all the participants. Wish you a happy International Day and MSME Day to all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President, Vice President, and MSME Committee Chairman Neeraj Kumar Khandelwal sir for your message on this MSME Day celebrations. It's time to hear from our beloved Central Council member, C.A. Rajendra Kumar sir, on this MSME Day celebration. Over to sir.
Thank you, Rahman. Very esteemed dignitaries who are seated on the dais. I can see Chartered Accountant C.A.K. Suresh, my president in the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. In fact, he himself hails from a very big corporate in the state of Tamil Nadu. A very eminent personality, a public personality, I must say. Thank you, Suresh, for coming to your parent body. In fact, this is your home ground, and we are, I think whether Panaraj sir knew or not, he's a chartered accountant, and we are proud that he is heading one of the oldest and a very eminent chamber of commerce, where the prime ministers, presidents, chief ministers of our country have graced the occasion on numerous times. I also recognize the presence of the ever active C.A. Sundar Rajan sir, the treasurer of the ICAI SIRC, Rekha Uma Shiv, the regional council member, and Madam Subashini Ganapthi, who is a very popular personality and who is well known among the chartered accountants circle. There's one more member, but I'm not able to see. I mean, I'm not able to exactly place who is the person there. Is it Dr. P. Paramasivam seated there? Who is seated there, Rahman?
The two speakers.
Okay, wonderful. So, as the president, vice president, and the chairman of the committee have already spoken, I don't think I'll be able to add on to what my leaders have spoken on this particular. Normally, it is a protocol that once the leader has spoken, we are not supposed to add on to whatever he has, but then nevertheless, having called, maybe from next time onwards, kindly ensure that the president speaks, and after that only the speaker shall speak. That is my humble request to you. Esteemed friends, I am glad that we are celebrating this day today, and numerous programs are being organized by the respective committee of the institute. And I must also at this time mention that the institute's contribution towards the cause of the industry, towards the cause of the business is enormous. I must tell you here, I must place it on record that apart from MSME, the institute's contribution to the corporate world is multifaceted, manifold, I must say. We have our Central Council member CA Shri Kumar. In fact, I must mention here the giant steps our committee, the Corporate Laws Committee, is taking with respect to the new initiatives and challenges in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The kind of interaction and the kind of coordination that is happening and the support that the committee is extending to the ministry's initiatives in the new portal and very many other areas that is going on is praiseworthy. And it is here that the institute stands apart from any other body set up by the under an act of parliament. On this MSME day, it is my pleasure to greet each and every one of the stakeholders as far as the country is concerned, and also in specific the southern region. We have been known for our contribution to the society, and we have been also acknowledged at very many times the institute's role in the industry, in the business, and in the finances of the country. I would not dwell much on various other issues or topics which will be discussed by the honorable speakers. I'd only greet each and every one of you on this particular day and thank the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce for partnering with the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Southern Region. Suresh sir, this is one platform which you can use for the chamber for the chamber's activities. And let us together, in fact, there are on many occasions, the institute being the creation of the Parliament of India may not be able to air its views on its own unless and otherwise we receive some request from the industry or chambers. It is here, you as a president, a chartered accountant can make a difference. You can always use the institute's arm to maybe send your proposals to the government as and when it is required. And from our side, we have always turned back to Hindustan Chamber of Commerce whenever necessary. Chitra Madam, the very efficient secretary of the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, is fully aware of our institute's endeavors. And also as the past president of the chamber, I can only say you and all the committee members are doing a great job. Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very much for bearing with me for this next about 5 to 8 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Central Council Member Rajesh Kumar sir, for your message. May I now request the CA Shri Kumar, Central Council Member, to deliver his special address.
Thank you very, very much, Rahman. CA Sundarajan sir, CA Panaraj ji, CA Subashini, CA Rekha, Mr. Suresh, the President of the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, and other speakers who've taken this time off to come here today to be with us. Ladies and gentlemen, in the real and the virtual audience, here's a very, very good afternoon to all of you. On behalf of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this program. Our program, we are also in some sense, small and medium practitioners, a lot of us, to this World MSME Day. As Rahman said, MSMEs account for a significant portion of the employment, not only in the country, but also in the world, and have a crucial role to play in the development of economies, and particularly in the context of the $5 trillion economy that India wants to be. I do notice that the last 5-6 years have been transformational in the MSME space. There have been a slew of initiatives that have been taken by the government to promote MSMEs. And MSMEs in a very different context will perhaps serve best the cause of a national self-sufficiency in all our goods and services. And that's why MSMEs, it's like local, be global and local, both at the same time. So in terms of the government schemes, there's much that's available on the public domain, category of articles, etc. But some of the interesting initiatives that this government came up with was collateral-free automatic loans. They revised the MSME definition to make the thresholds larger. They imposed some benefits in tender conditions to help MSMEs participate more than the global players. And of course, we have this MSME law of payment within 45 days, which I think could actually be implemented better. The spirit of it is very, very good. And then we have local MSME Adalat schemes, etc. But all this entire concept of MSME payments is the one part where I think we'd have to improve. Having said that, what can we as chartered accountants do for MSMEs? Presently, in the current landscape, chartered accountants largely work with MSMEs on compliance or an audit, where either they're statutory auditors, in a few cases, they're internal auditors. We happen to do their income tax filing, we do their GST returns, we possibly help them with a few registrations. I see a much, much larger role for the CA fraternity to participate with MSMEs. Can we transform our current compliance roles to a role of a business advisor? Can we participate? There's of course a lot of action in the IBC space and consequent M&A businesses and acquisitions that happen in the MSME space. Can we help MSMEs obtain easy access to credit in terms of cheaper capital? That's one big area that MSMEs look forward to. The second big area that I think is very helpful for MSMEs is transforming business processes. They often don't come with the knowledge and experience and bandwidth that large enterprises have. So they just about manage to get their act right. But anything that can be done better, can be done well, can we serve as process advisors. I know many, many MSMEs who don't even maintain their accounts and tally every day. So if you ask a promoter, what's your outstanding, what's the receivable, he may not even know the agent. He relies. Can we enable technology in these kind of simple solutions for them to have better control and visibility on their businesses? That's the third one. And of course, the most important is how can we work with them on a shared vision to make them bigger or faster? You know, the Olympic motto, swifter, faster, and stronger. Swifter, higher, and stronger. How can we transform the MSME landscape? Now, this is another interesting thing is that as a profession, we generally don't do much of a reach out because you have this code of conduct, but just see how best we can network with organizations like the Chambers of Commerce, the Hindustan Chamber, the CII, etc., to see how we can offer our services to the MSME. And I'm also very happy to let you know that ICAI is in the process of signing up a slew of MOUs with various state governments in the MSME space. So with these short words, if I were to just summarize what's the key ask that ICAI would have of its members is to work more with MSMEs in the business advisory and consulting space. Thank you so much for this opportunity that was given to me today. And I hope to actually help any of you in any initiatives that you might want in this regard. As Mr. Rajendra Kumar, who's doing some exemplary work in the GST committee, had mentioned, we're currently working on a project with MCA where we are actually doing a complete embedding of our team in the version 3 of the portal. As you might all be aware, the MCA has launched the version 3 of the MCA 21 portal. It's gone live for companies, but not for LLPs, but not yet gone live for companies. It's a very, very complex migration. One is not trying to be defensive here, but they need to migrate when actually an aircraft is running. So they did have challenges with the LLP forms. That's when the president was kind enough to sanction a whole team. So we've got a team sitting in the office of the service provider, trying to help our members and to identify blockers, improvements, or defects that are needed in the LLP portal. And as we speak, and the kind of commitment that the government has come on this project is exemplary. We had a choice. We could stay out and say, okay, we'd like to, just keep saying there's a problem. But this time, ICAI, unlike in the past, has taken a very bold call to actually work with the ministry hand in hand to get this implementation done as smoothly as possible. And it's a very large project. You have 20 lakh companies, you have 2 lakh LLPs. It's not small. And I must say that not only in the context of MSME, I find that there is a larger involvement. So there is a meeting with the MCA secretary that's scheduled every week at 3 p.m. where all the professional institutes who are supporting are called and they're asked to present our problems, and then the service provider is expected to revert. And that's the kind of rigor that the government has come up with now to make, transformation, digital transformation a reality. So I have this meeting here today and I'd like to be excused, but nevertheless, I will make it a point to read this recording, to see the recording and revert with my inputs. Thank you very, very much. And once again, happy MSME Day.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much.
May I now request CAK Suresh, President, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to deliver his special address.
Good afternoon to all, respected President, Vice President, and the MSME Committee Chairman of Ministry of Charters of India, respected CA Pannaraj, Vice Chairman SIRC, respected CA Mr. Sundarajan, Treasurer SIRC, respected Shri, Central Council Member, respected CA Mr. Rajendra Kumar, who happens to be the past President of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce and my well-wisher, respected CA Rekha, who is going to be the speaker, respected CA Subashini, and we are having Mr. Sudhanidhi PD from Bank of Baroda, one of the speakers. So I extend my warm welcome on behalf of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. It's my double pleasure today, actually, a pleasure of multiple feelings, because as a chartered accountant, I'm participating here and also representing as a president of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. Really, I'm very proud of it. As our president and others said, Institute of Charters of India has taken MSMEs very seriously. And in fact, we have launched a portal also in November to develop the linkage between the industry and the professional. As many speakers said, MSME today, this is June 27th is the MSME Day, which is the mark, so that a focus will be there on the development of this particular segment. Before that, as a president of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, it is my duty and pleasure to say a few things about our chamber. This is one of the oldest chambers in India. Recently, we celebrated our Platinum Jubilee in the presence of Vice President Mr. Venkaiah Naidu. As Mr. Rajendra Kumar said, we are blessed with many dignitaries for various occasions. We are having around 1,000 members cutting across various segments of trade and commerce. In particular, we are having more MSME members in our setup. And we are also conducting regularly various programs, and you can also put to our program. It is open to all. And you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We are all there. So any program you can also join. We welcome the CA professionals also to join our program. With this background, I just touch upon a few things on the occasion of MSME Day. As the many speakers said, MSME is the major contributor of employment. There's no doubt about it. Around 110 million individuals jobs being given and 6,000 products being produced. I mean, it's a phenomenal one. And contribution to export, if you see that, it is around 48%. And overall GDP, if you see it is 25 to 30%. And we are having approximately 63 million MSMEs. And if you see, the Tamil Nadu becomes the second largest MSME cluster, comparing to the first one is the Maharashtra. So we are the second largest cluster. That's why even yesterday, Chief Minister has rather pronounced many announcements to support the MSME on the occasion of MSME Day today. Various reports, researchers, surveys proved again and again that this sector acts as a catalyst for socio-economic development of the country. All this becomes more important, as Shri Madam said, with the mission of achieving $5 trillion economy by 2025. Of course, it may extend 1 or 2 years due to various factors. With this target, the role of MSME sector is going to play an important role. There's no doubt about it. The potential of Indian MSME sector is still untapped. And that is one of the reasons why government policies are now more convergent towards building resilient ecosystem with better breadth and depth. The announcement of Rather, survey reports have shown that disruptions caused by COVID impacted MSME earnings by around 20%. So this really made them to feel the pinch. Of course, state government as well as central governments have taken many steps during pre-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID to support the survival of MSME in many ways. So we have to thank these governments really giving support at the need of the hour. What is the issue then? It's not only the enterprise which face challenges, even consumers are left with the lower disposable income during the COVID time. So economic slowdown along with the border tensions had again dragged us to focus back on self-sustainable values, Swadeshi dream. That's why Prime Minister announced Atman Nirbhar Bharat mission to burning issues simultaneously to face two things. One is giving boost to MSME and other being less dependent on foreign nations. So 15 relief measures have been declared under this package. 6 were entirely focused to empower MSMEs. These measures are definitions being done and there being featured, MSME definitions, new credit and finance schemes have been brought in, allocating funds for equity participation, relief of non-performing asset, clearing of dues of MSMEs, disallowing global tenders. So this really has put in the MSME in a very good spot as far as the assistance is concerned. Battery gone? Oh, okay. So as far as the allocations or rather support is concerned, now today's seminar, it is about role of chartered accountants, what way they can extend their help to MSMEs. Today we are having eminent 3 speakers. One is going to talk about what kind of hand-holding can be done by a chartered accountant for uplifting the MSC's conditions or positions. That is one thing. Next is how to source the funds. That's very important. Many MSCs are not aware of where to source the funds, how to source the funds, and what rate of interest. All these things are really missing link in their survival. So today's seminar is going to attempt all these 3 aspects. Another one is how to ensure even compliance is also very important. So these 3 things are going to be discussed today by eminent speakers, and definitely the MSME Day is going to have a valuable rather takeaways today from the seminar, and definitely the CAs being the ambassadors of this industry, that is business people, definitely they will extend their own help to MSME in making them a successful entity. And I also this time, and this occasion, I have to thank Mr. Anand Rajapal, who is my colleague in Hindustan Chamber, who is heading the committee, MSME committee, for being accepting his invitation to propose the voter tax also. And with this, I wish happy MSME Day to all MSMEs as well as the chartered owners who are going to make their life more and more bright. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh sir. SIRC is always happy to be associated with the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce for various initiatives, programs, investor awareness campaigns, etc. We are now moving to the first technical session, chartered accountants as a business solution providers for MSMEs. We are having with us a CA Subashini Ganapthi. May I now request CA R. Sundarajan, Treasurer SIRC of ICAI, to formally introduce Madam and the team introduction. Over to sir.
Respected Chairman, Sri Srinivasan sir in absentia, and Vice Chairman Sir Sri Ganapthi sir. Respected Central Council members, Sri IK sir through video conferencing, and Sri Priya Madam through video conference. President Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, Sri K.S. Suresh sir, CA Subashini Ganapthi, Speaker of the Day. Shri, Gadde Ravi sir, IEDS Joint Director. Shri Sudhanidhi, Senior Manager, Bank of Baroda. Shri Rajgopal, Chairman of MSME, and my fellow colleague present here, Rekha, and the members of ICA and other persons, others watching and present here, officials of the ICA. Namaskaram to all of you. I still remember, wait till you remember the first day of COVID address, where myself and speaker was only two persons sitting on the stage. And nobody was there at the thing, and it was taken on camera, and it was lively telecast to everyone. I'm remembering of those days today. The contribution of the MSME to the growth of the state and the country as such is phenomenal. But the intense pressure and constraints in sustaining competitiveness in to move on to the globalized world is the difficulty faced by the MSME units. It is also high employment generating sector, as said by Hindustan Chamber of Commerce President. And the object of this, some of the objects of 2023, as published in the last year, some of the objects. This is MSME first is the concept, and the improve access to finance and the infrastructure support. These are the three things which has been said by the state and the central governments last year. And in this slide, our speaker of the day of this session, Subashini Madam, will be highlighting on CA as business solution providers to MSME. CA Subashini Madam is in practice since 2009, and she has rendered services as internal audits, setting up of standard operating procedures, due diligence, pre-diligence, consulting, statutory compliance, also a specialist in presenting the firm to venture capital investors, and GST, special in tax consulting, international taxation, complete counseling of international taxation. And she had addressed in many forums of institute, not only institute and also in the public forums. She had even presented budgets on CA, the budget day. Select as a faculty of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India for GST, was part of video training programs by Tamil Nadu government along with ICT Academy, accredited faculty of the Ministry of Skill Development, responsible in training entrepreneurs all over India, and she's a faculty member in DTRTI, training the income tax officers and officials of the income tax department, and she's a co-opted member of the research committee of the SIRC. She was co-opted member of SICAS of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. And we all know how she serves our institute. And what I have spoken here is very little, because we all know more than that about Subashini Madam. She had addressed more than 10,000 students as part of the career counseling program. A lot of credits are there to her. I request her to take over the session. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
A very happy afternoon to the Honorable Central Council members, Regional Council members, and my dear co-speakers who joined here, and also to the President and the efficient team of the Hindustan Chamber of Commerce. First of all, thank you all for this wonderful opportunity on this very, very important day. And especially the topic is to talk about CAs as business solution providers. So very, very thoughtful topic indeed,
because CAs on one side are known to be only for the compliance portion. So as Shri was mentioning, it is not about compliance. So there's a paradigm shift in the opportunity, or probably I would call it the responsibility of the chartered accountants towards the developing nation. So CAs, probably the origin of CAs for the other non-chartered accountants. This chartered accountant fraternity was actually born with the necessity that somebody responsible, somebody knowledgeable has to vouch for the public money, deployment of the public money, and to give the right information to the stakeholders. So there came the role of chartered accountant as registered accountants pre-Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, and post-Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, we are called as chartered accountants. So chartered accountants on one side be as partners in nation building in terms of compliance, in terms of collating and presenting the right information, and also protecting the revenue. While I see giving the right information, why is it important? Because when we're talking about MSME, it is not a kind of new thing which was actually invented in the last few decades, as we all talk about the importance which it has gained. Maybe the 2007, the Ministry of Small Scale Industries was merged as Ministry of MSME, or the 2017 where the MSME Day was announced. It dates back much, much earlier, where we had our khadi and coir industries since then, I mean, pre-independence also. But the problem is the recording, the probably the reporting of the contribution of the MSME gained importance in the recent past. It's not that they were not contributing. All through the history of India and the world, MSMEs were the biggest contributors, be it agriculture or the other industries, the supply chain, the support mechanism, everywhere. So ongoing the development phase, it was important to record the details, what the MSME really contributes, because employment generation is the key for development of every single nation. And especially when India today is in the phase of development where we hold the highest demographic dividend, it becomes very, very important that the employment generation is taken good care of, so that there is sufficient employment opportunities for the younger generation. And if we look at the themes of MSMEs since 2017, it was small business and big impact in 2017. So why is the small business and big impact? And that is actually the key mantra of MSME, where the investment is small, the employment is small, but still the impact is big, because there are number of MSMEs across the country, across the world, of course. 2018 was youth dimension. So where it was felt that there are more and more entrepreneurs who are coming in, because gone are those days where the generation, the second generation entrepreneurs, probably like only when we had our Esther generation as businessmen, we can afford to be entrepreneurs. So today, like all the new innovations, new entrepreneurs are encouraged to come into the MSME stream, and the only hindrance which was there was the credit, the funding. So today it is not today, but even the last few years, we have this collateral free credit given to encourage new entrepreneurs, encourage innovations, and so on and so forth. So the youth dimension probably is contributing more to the entrepreneurial sector and more so on the MSME. 2019, it was big money for small businesses. So here it was, on one end, like of course we all look at the GDP contribution, the employment contribution, the entire supply chain contribution done by MSME. But probably it has to be balanced with the amount of investment which has to go into the MSME to take that returns out of the MSMEs. Probably certain MSMEs are really struggling to scale up. Maybe with a small investment support, maybe they can steer up and do a leap to the next level. So all those things. So that is big money for small business. Financing the SDGs. 2020 was, of course, COVID year. And in spite of the COVID, of course, we had a lot of setbacks in the overall economy and more so in the MSME sector. We can actually look at that in two ways. Probably the MSME sector, the small and medium businesses, where, of course, they had a big hit because they were the people who were employing the youth, the women, the underprivileged, and all sort of skill categories were given employment by the MSME sector, and a lot of money and turnover was generated from that sector. Of course, it had a big hit, but probably the MSME sector found out ways to digitize their business, to create new kind of avenues to survive and to rejuvenate. And 2021 was inclusive and sustainable recovery. So it is like, of course, the entire world needed a kind of recovery, and MSME should definitely be an important, eminent part of this recovery for the economy to rejuvenate, to recover. But in 2022, the theme is resilience and rebuilding through MSMEs for sustainable development. So here, the resilience, the kind of springing back into action, as actually the responsibility is given to the MSMEs, because MSMEs are the sector, or is the sector to rejuvenate the economy, to bring back the entire economy which has actually gone down in terms of COVID or war or whatever reasons. It is the MSME which is the backbone of the nation to actually bring that into action so that we have that super recovery to touch the 5 trillion economy dream or whatever. So when we are talking about 5 trillion economy dream and millions of employments being generated, millions of investments being done. So when we are talking about COVID, credit, and other issues, ease of doing business, which are the key factors, the key pillars for MSME, the core item is the credit. So the money flow, which has actually has to be injected into the MSME sector for them to rejuvenate. So CAs as business solution providers for the MSMEs. So what are the role or what is the role that a chartered accountant can play in terms of MSME is not actually limited to the compliance. Why compliance is also important is basically because the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, they bring in the mantra for the developing nations that make compliance easy and make non-compliance very, very difficult. So how do we make compliance easy? The basis is to create record of the business, whatever is being done. And as I was mentioning, the CA or the businesses, the MSME businesses is not something which actually came in the last few years. It's really, it dates back to centuries. But how do people do business without proper accounting and without proper recording? It was all because the entrepreneurs had the business in mind. So if you talk to a small business entrepreneur, he would be able to tell you the stock he has, the reorder quantity, the profit he makes, the margins, the discount he can give, everything is here. So the issue comes in terms of scalability. There could be a wonderful innovation, but how do you make it scalable? How do you make it presentable to bring in investors? So the model of the self-hard disk kind of data really works when you are putting in your own money, when your generation is an entrepreneur and it just carries on and on. But when you want to present it to somebody, some third party, it could be the government, it could be the ministry, it could be the banks, it could be the venture capital funding, anybody, the business has to be scalable. So recording becomes important. So how do you record these transactions? So here again, we have challenges. We had situations maybe a couple of decades ago where we were maintaining 2-3 different books. One is for the sales tax department, one is for the income tax, one is for others. So today, all those things are a history. So today you have no choice but to comply. So making compliance easy and making non-compliance difficult is literally being implemented in our country, and we are seeing it on, everybody who is doing business will, of course, feel the sense. So you will have to be compliant. You have no choice but to be compliant. So being compliant, again, today we are actually push to a stage where it is easy to just present the right facts and be compliant and concentrate on your business to do better focus on that rather than probably like camouflaging the data, presenting incorrect data and all that, because today data and technology is like growing manifold. And in terms of income tax, there are lots and lots of information which is being gathered, and we always have a kind of crib from the salaried class. So MSMEs probably, like I would also include, like if MSMEs are called as middle class, we also have one more class who are middle class, who are salaried people. So they also always have a crib that, people who are doing business can do any kind of tax planning. They are not paying taxes, and salaries are like left with no tax, no choice but to pay the correct tax. But today, I think that is actually being removed. Today, you have no choice but to pay your right taxes on time. Today, we have actually moved to an era where the compliant taxpayer is honored. That is probably one of the very good initiatives which the government is bringing in, because it is like honoring the honest taxpayer. So when we have a mass population of MSMEs where we have like 10 people complying to the taxes, doing their accounting properly, filing their returns properly, we have another group who probably does not comply with all those things. So this compliant group actually gets demotivated looking at the other group who are not doing the compliance, but yet they are happy and saving taxes or probably evading taxes. Today, that situation actually is being put into a crunch where you have to comply. You are left with no choice because non-compliance is very, very costly. So how do you know about this compliance? So the basic is recording of information. So how do you record this information? Probably you can use a kind of software which is available, and CAs are probably the right people right from the inception to take you through what kind of business you need to constitute. So it could be a proprietor. In certain cases, a proprietary business would be sufficient. In certain cases, maybe it's a kind of beautiful innovation which is coming in, probably certified by any of this startup India schemes or accredited by IIT and so on and so forth. So those cases where you are looking in for a hand-holding, maybe like you will have to crawl and carry over the business for the initial 2 to 3 years, and after that your product is a super product where you will have venture capital investors coming and flowing, probably like looking in for your business. And those cases, a proprietary concern may not be the right path to choose. So a chartered accountant probably has a role to play right from inception, where you have actually conceived the idea of starting the business. So when you start the business, probably any businessman will definitely have a vision for the next 3 to 5 years. So you explain the vision to a chartered accountant, and it is not just about compliance, it is much more to it. So it's bringing scalability into your business. So it's bringing, it's to decide on which category, which kind of constitution will suit you better, where it is compliance is like much easier, or probably it much suits your kind of business. So in certain cases, yes, there are, like as Shri was mentioning, there are a lot of compliances in terms of a private limited company, and non-compliance is pretty costly. Similarly, in GST, we have compliances and non-compliances is costly. So how do we digitize? How do we actually, but is it really worth taking that amount of a leap to get into that regulation mode? Can we actually sustain that regulation? What are the steps I need to follow as a MSME to actually be a compliant business? Because in certain cases, we just see like where the venture capital funding is there, or when a bank, you approach a bank for a funding. So these MSMEs are probably a spur of movement, and an entrepreneur probably is not like, who has the appetite to take the risk and start the business, will not actually think for years. It is just a momentary thing that you start the business. So with so much of anxiety and a vision, you start the business, and probably after a year, when you really need the bank finance, it is actually a challenge to go back, to repair, to rework the entire compliances or the path you have traveled, which could have been much more better in terms of compliance, in terms of working capital, in terms of your investment decisions, everything. So since inception, the moment you conceive an idea to start a business, a CA can definitely add much bigger value in advising which kind of constitution you can follow on. Not just that, in also protecting your investments. So there may be situations where you have sufficient capital and maybe one person has a knowledge capital. So this finance capital and the knowledge capital has to be in a perfect combination for the business to run. So we see so many situations where the deed or the legal document constituting the business does not actually protect the interest of the investors. So what a chartered accountant can do there? Much more, because the chartered accountant understands your business, understands your finance, and understands the consequences of these legal issues which can crop up, because we see a lot of cases after the problem comes in. So the moment you conceive the idea of starting the business, the constitution of the business, the people who are actually like you are co-opting to start your business, maybe the legal protection what you can have, whether to invest all your business as capital or whether to actually keep it as a debt or equity so that you protect the interest of the company and also your personal interest. And in terms of proprietary concerns, we see a lot of issues where you don't differentiate between your business and your personal financing. So it's all great when your money flow is super. So that's when actually like entrepreneurs who don't maintain proper accounting, the only sign for them is as long as they have enough money in their bank and pocket, they think they are doing very well. But actually not. There may be situations where you are managing through borrowed funds or funds from your creditors, funds from your purchases which are actually managing, so on and so forth, where maybe after 3 years, 5 years, where you actually run low of funds, then that is where you actually feel the pinch. And in our experience as chartered accountants, we've seen businesses which are pretty organized. They actually plan their personal finances and the business finances very well, and they are the entities. It could be MSMEs, it could be big firms, it could be any size, but MSMEs are the more affected people in terms of working capital. But people who were organized, who were able to put a kind of percentage of profit as reserves for the future, did not, or probably were able to sustain the COVID dip. They were able to come out of the dip which COVID or the climate or the challenges which was thrown against them. So that is how a business should be. Like the government is looking in for a resilient, a sustainable development growth. Every single business should take that as a mantra, where it should be a sustainable development and growth. When we are looking in for the next step, so next step, financial planning, you want to invest something. So when you want to invest, then a decision comes whether I have to put in my own funds or can I go in for borrowed funds. So how do you make this decision? So there could be 3 options in front of you: either to buy it with your own money, or to have a support of borrowed funds and then invest, or you can either lease it. So these kind of decisions are purely business. That's how it can seem so. But wherever the finance is involved, a chartered accountant can definitely guide you through in putting up the numbers on what you will be making out of this investment in next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and whether you will be able to repay your debt on time, whether investing in your own money will be worthwhile, or whether borrowing funds will be better given the subsidies and schemes which my next speaker is going to take you through. So all these decisions definitely a chartered accountant can well contribute. In terms of working capital management, so I'm talking about day-to-day business solutions. In terms of working capital management, probably like every business, every entrepreneur has their own calculation as to how to manage the working capital. So they just say like out of relationship, they say like, okay, fine, I'm going to pay you a little later. Maybe I will fund with the creditors which is happening and all that. But even if you're going to approach a big corporate as a MSME to promote your business, then you are at a kind of a point where the negotiations side is much bigger with the corporate, because they are going to give business. So MSME, Ministry of MSME actually is to protect you in terms of the 45-day credit. So what if my invoice, I myself say that I can give you 90-day credit, the Ministry of MSME prescribes a 45-day credit period, beyond which the interest, etc., and other penalties kinds of they kick on. So how do you stick and manage onto this? So probably like you can use this as a tool to manage your working capital that the ministry says. And for the corporates, of course, it is a definitely reporting thing, and as Shri definitely mentioned that this can be taken up as a much better tool to generate the working capital or to manage the working capital, to ease out the working capital of the MSMEs, so that the entire idea of bringing in this kind of 45-day credit limit is followed in spirit, so that there's enough funds which are being flown into the MSME sector, so that there's more growth and development. So this is in terms of managing your business. When you want to scale up to the next level, when you want to take up the working capital support from the banks, then you will have to give in your business plan. So this business plan largely like comes in as a bank is asking for the projections and we just need a projections. It is not just about that, because today there is a lot of compliance and this data is available everywhere. So it is not that I give a huge rosy projection to the bank and I don't achieve it. I give a huge investment plan and I don't actually invest on it. There are monitoring mechanisms. While on one side, the government is definitely supporting the MSMEs, pumping in a lot of money into the MSMEs, we as chartered accountants probably are given the dual responsibility. One is to protect the interest of the public in terms of the bank funding, where we also play a role from the banks getting into their shoes, doing the stock audit, the credit audit and the revenue audit, etc., to ensure that the funds given by the bank are deployed in the right way and it is really safe. And from the MSME side, we of course advise whether borrowing this fund and utilizing this fund is actually advisable. So this again draws down to your projections. So this projection numbers can be drawn actually in line with your actuals only when you maintain your proper accounts. So the OECD is actually celebrating this MSME for a week. So they have different themes of women entrepreneurs, digitization, improving the youth skill development, etc. So this digitization actually plays a very important role where in terms of recording your transactions. So once you have your transactions recorded, that becomes the base for taking your decisions or data for to enable you to make better decisions, whether to take the next step or whether to change your marketing strategy. Have you actually performed to do your cash flows, so on and so forth. So from this recorded data, probably definitely a chartered accountant will be able to help you in drawing your financial projections. And this financial projections, every single MSME, if you can make it a point that these projections are not just a paper which is given to the bank, but it is your own objective, it is your own vision, it is your own report card kind of a document where you will have to chase those targets to ensure if you don't achieve that particular top line of sales or the investment return or so on and so forth, then it is important that you look back into that particular transactions of the year and to redraw your projection. So it is no more a document just given to the bank, because your stock figures, which is actually given as a collateral to the bank, because when we say it is collateral free funding which is given by the banks to the MSMEs, yes, it is collateral free. They are not asking for any fixed immovable property which you have to for you to become an entrepreneur. There are innumerable number of schemes which actually supports the graduates who have a lot of innovations, who have the skill or the fire for an entrepreneurship with the funds. So when that is done, it is important from the other end to actually prepare or record proper transactions and present the right information to the bank. And as the government largely supports the MSMEs, injects lots of funds, it gives more responsibility on the MSMEs to maintain correct records and to present the right information to the banks. So what am I actually going to achieve by recording the right transactions, to present the right information to the bank, to file my GST returns on time, to do my income tax returns on time, to do all other compliances on time? So there are businesses who are actually not doing all this. So why should I, as an MSME, get into all this compliance costs and hassles of maintaining records and all this? You will understand the answer in the long run. So there are situations when you are looking in for a venture capital funding. So no capital will be infused into your entity without doing a complete due diligence of your business. So what is due diligence? It is more a kind of report card of what you have been doing all these days. So from where have you got all these funds? So how have you managed your funds? Where are your gaps in compliance? What are the probable penalties you will have to face because of all these non-compliance? So on and so forth. So this due diligence record will stand as a report card when you are looking at scaling up your business in terms of funding. So today the banks are of course giving the seed capital, and you have any number of private equity and venture capital funds who are looking in to invest their funds, basically because they get better returns, and with all the given regulations and compliances in India, they feel it is safe to invest here in terms of the business. So how do you get all that unless you have a proper compliance on track? This venture capital investment will become a big question mark. So for you to be compliant, the incentives are, so hassle-free business, you can actually focus on only your business growth. So as long as compliance is in track, you will not spend your time. You don't have to spend your time in terms of doing the repair work or damage control in terms of non-compliance. And when we're talking about non-compliance, it is in all arenas. It could be as small as a professional tax, a shops and establishment registration, until the GST and income tax. So compliance is there in every small aspect. A small issue of not displaying your certificate could turn as a bigger penalty. So to understand the compliances which you have to follow, probably definitely a chartered accountant can play a role. Today, chartered accountants are rendering services. So when we say you need a chartered accountant to know about your compliances, your next question will be, as MSME, can I afford employing a full-time chartered accountant? So the answer is no. You cannot afford employing a full-time chartered accountant if your business is really small. But that doesn't mean you are completely denied of the services of a chartered accountant or the knowledge of chartered accountant, because today there are a lot of virtual CFO kind of services offered by the chartered accountants. We take care of entire compliances which a company has to follow. So it could be a small proprietary concern, it could be partnership, it could be LLP, it could be private limited company, it could be anything else. It could be a trust, it could be anything else. So wherever it is, there are lists of compliances to be followed, and it is definitely not easy to follow up with the changes which are being introduced. So when we are talking about ease of compliance on one side and a lot of compliances on the other, yes, we are in the transition phase. So when the government talks about ease of compliance, is it really ease of compliance today? The answer is no, but we are definitely moving towards that. Today, we are moving in from a totally unorganized space to a completely organized space, and we are in the transition phase. It's not going to be easy. But again, once we start bringing in that discipline in our entity by recording the transactions day to day. So as Panarad sir was telling, like investment. So anything which you do, you're selecting your chartered accountant as an investment. Similarly, selecting, having a kind of finance team in your business is definitely an investment. Because every single business, or probably largely the business people, look at finance team as a cost. Because every single entrepreneur has that kind of a mental math or back of the envelope calculation where they can do whether they are making any profit or whether making losses, whether they have to invest, whether they have the capital from outside. All these things is more of a mental math for an entrepreneur. But when you're coming to a kind of compliance, so there you definitely need a finance team, because out of this mental math, it will not be possible for an entrepreneur to present your projections to the bank, to keep track of what you gave to the bank and whether you are actually traveling in the right track to achieve your business. So there are situations where a chartered accountant play a big role in assessing whether you are going in the right track. So there are a lot of businesses which probably like have diversified business. Maybe one business, they want to do one other track, they want to do one other track, and all these decisions probably might sound as a pure entrepreneurial decision. It is definitely not so, because anywhere there is money involved, there is definitely a role of a chartered accountant, where a chartered accountant can definitely take you through, handhold you right from inception, right from the time you conceive you want to start a business until the stage where you get listed as one of those big companies. A role of chartered accountant is definitely there, and chartered accountants as business solution providers are important, and we definitely can contribute wherever there is money involved, and without money there is no business. So chartered accountants as partners in nation building, in form and spirit, we are willing to offer our services as partners in nation building in MSMEs, in terms of your financial management, in terms of your compliances, in terms of scaling up to your next level, in terms of credit, capital, and so on and so forth. So here's wishing a very, very happy MSME day, and look forward to the resilient, rejuvenated growth of the MSMEs in the economy of India. Thanking you for the wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Subashini madam. Chartered accountants are always a solution providers. You have briefly explained the role of chartered accountants as a business solution provider, especially for MSMEs. Thank you once again. We are now moving to the next technical session. We have with us Shri Gadde Ravi, Joint Director, Indian Enterprise Development Services. He will take us through MSME central government schemes. May I now request CA Rekha ma'am to formally introduce the speaker and say a few words about MSME Day.
Good afternoon to gentlemen and ladies, and viewers. I came to know that 165 plus people are viewing these sessions. So I am very delighted to be part of this celebrations from the institute. That is one. Another one, my main speech will be on two aspects. One is lightly I will touch upon the schemes what we are giving to MSMEs. That is one. Another one is based on my experience, I had some issues to be solved by the CS, Chartered Accountants. That probably I will share with you. Most of the people are doing extremely well. Industries are having, I interacted with so many industries. Most of the people are giving a lot of respect to auditors. Auditor means is a big person. Like that only they will be giving the status fee. So I congratulate for that one. So these two aspects I will cover, and most of the people, most of the auditors might be knowing all the schemes. In the schemes also, two varieties will be there. One is subsidized schemes and non-subsidized schemes. So that both let us cover. And before starting the meeting, let me introduce our institute, what we are rendering, what service rendering to MSMEs in the particularly state of Tamil Nadu. So basically we are rendering three services. The three services, what are that? One is we are showing unemployed youth to take the path of self-employment activity. That is the one of the main activity what we are doing. With this activity, we are giving some entrepreneurship development programs, skill development programs, and we are telling them how to register the companies, whom to approach for what licenses. So how to prepare a project report, basic. Again, we are advocating them to go to only auditors. Okay, so your role is very crucial. So again, they will land up at your place. So you have to prepare the project report. That may be basic one or bankable project report that could be submitted to bank, based on which bank can able to convince themselves and they issue the loans. So these are the things we will be giving in the first activity. Second activity is hand-holding support to the existing industries. Our ministry is giving so many schemes like marketing support. If they want to improve the, Madam was mentioning very nicely. Most of the things what I would like to speak, she has already covered. So, like improving the productivity, improving their design. Any product if manufacturers are there, if aesthetic look should be given to that product, which can be easily marketable or customers will like it. So those scheme also there. One more scheme like digitalization of the industries, MSMEs. So and recently they introduced one scheme called zero defect and zero effect, which is little superior than ISO 9000. So that also industries can opt that one, and central government is very serious. Whosoever awarded with that certification, they will be given more incentives by state government as well as central government. And our ministry is negotiating with all public sector undertakings to have the MOU. The vendors which are having JET certification should be given the preference. Even GEM also, government e-market, in that also they are planning it. And one more thing, railways also they are going to, discussions are going on. Any freight charges, some discount in the freight charges if any MSME is processing JET certification. So that scheme also there. Like this, hand-holding schemes are there for the existing industries. One more core activity is providing common facility services. Suppose a company may not able to afford to test their product. We are having testing centers. In Chennai, very good facilities available. The best facilities available for water testing, building material testing. They need not to go any other laboratory or any other place. They can come out to us, and there is a subsidy around 20% of testing charges. So those things can be avoided. Common facility center we are providing. And one more thing, what we are doing, if any cluster of the industries, those who are in similar line of activity, either process or manufacturing of the product. If a particular facility they are not able to afford to buy, which may be costing more than 10 crores, 20 crores, as an individual unit may not able to afford it. So there is a scheme called CDP, Cluster Development Program, in which they can avail 30 crores as a project. In that 60 to 70% subsidy, not subsidy, as a grant they will get. So they have to invest, or all the shareholders of that cluster has to invest from 20% to 30%. Balance percentage will be taken care of by state government. That is the scheme. Now in details, if you are going, schemes, this is subsidized schemes. You may be knowing very well about the PMEGP, very successful scheme. You can promote that scheme for the new entrepreneurs. And one more in that component they have introduced recently. In that, any existing industry, if they want to go for second loan for improvement, for technological improvement or process improvement, they can go for the second loan. That is also there, up to 1 crore they will be giving. So PMEG is not meant for the only budding entrepreneurs. It is for the existing entrepreneurs also. Okay. On the online applications and everything is there in Google. You can search it, you can get it. Okay. That is one scheme. State government is giving one scheme called NEEDS. I think state government official is attending this seminar. Probably he may cover it. In that also you can get some subsidy. Another non-subsidized schemes like you can say Stand Up India, around 10 to 1 crore SC/ST community and women community they can have. And one more scheme called Mudra. Mudra scheme up to 10 lakhs they can get. It is all collateral free loan, sir. And if any bankers, in your knowledge, anybody is asking any collateral, please make a complaint. Okay, they should not ask any collateral. So they should collateral free loan they should give. That is one, sir. Another one, Stand Up India, that is also there up to 1 crore, 10 crores, 10 to 1 crore. These two schemes are for the non-subsidized schemes, but the startups. Another one, I told no that second loan up to 10 lakhs PMEG. That is true only. Okay, in that some subsidy component is there. For handholding support of the industries, incubation scheme, that is startups. If anybody wants to have, if anybody is having some idea which can be developed and can be commercialized by testing that idea, making it a design and making it a product, pilot stage, there is a scheme called incubation that also can be used by the startups. If anybody is having any innovation, even present existing companies also can go for this one. Then design already covered. Design already covered. IPR facility. There also some schemes are there, like if anybody is going for the foreign patent, Indian patent, geographical indicator registration, design registration, trademark registration, scheme some maximum amount of 10,000 for the trademark registration. If expenses are more than 10,000, then 10,000 is a maximum limit. Like that, some subsidies are there. And the lean manufacturing process. Normally, what will happen? All the MSMEs, existing MSMEs, they feel that they are doing business and they are earning the profit. So their process and everything is well established. It is proven, and normally they will not agree to change. Okay, so scientific way it has to be studied, and the reductions in the all the means, like maybe inventory reduction or process wastage reduction. This all can be done systematically with by helping of employing an consultant under this scheme. They can avail this scheme also, sir. And Jet already I told them. Procurement marketing scheme. This is very good scheme. Probably you may be noticing in the Chennai Trade Center. Anybody has gone this Saturday, Sunday, Friday? There was a fair, no? Logistic and architecture. The two fairs were conducted. In that, our department is approving the any fair, any small scale industry, SME, not medium, only small and medium only it is applicable. If they are participating, the stall charges around 1.5 lakhs of the cost of the stall charges they can get as a subsidy. 80% of the stall charges or 1.5 lakhs, whichever is less. All the governments give, whichever is less only they will say. Okay, and this 3 days around 120 units got benefited in one exhibition. So you can educate your customers, MSMEs, to avail this. For the prerequisite is only Udyam registration must be there. Okay, Udyam registration must be there, and per year they can participate 2 exhibitions. Every year they can participate 2 anywhere in India, whichever is approved by our ministry. Getting approval of the event is very easy process. It is online only. If anybody is interested, even that also we can give informations input to you. Even international cooperation, there is one more scheme. If any foreign delegation, if they want to be as a group, they can approach our ministry. This is some charges, airfare and stay and everything. There is a subsidy. They can go as a delegation, or even if they want to participate in the exhibition, international exhibition at a foreign country, that also can be done. As you know, public procurement policy is a good policy, and there is an earmark of 25% of the procurement by all the central or state government departments or ministries should be from for the MSME, SME side, not MSME medium, SME side. In that 4% will be the 4% is earmarked for SC/ST entrepreneurs and 3% will be for the women entrepreneurs. If we are seeing this, takers are very less in SC/ST community and women enterprises. So you can, in your knowledge, if any SC/ST community person is holding the MSc, please educate them to take this opportunity. Only 0.5%, 0.6%, 0.7% only they are availing out of 3% and 4% earmarked for SC/ST and women. It is a very, very low. There is one more scheme called National Award. So various categories are budding. Suppose recently they started a company. For them also there is award. And innovative products award is there. And if anybody export unit, for that a separate award is there like that. And recently they have introduced one more award. Institutions, those who are promoting the MSMEs, for them also, like state government departments and bankers. State Bank of India got award this year. So like that, any bank is promoting MSME, MSME cell, those things also they introduce it. And one more award they introduced it for aspirational districts. Any aspirational district is promoting MSMEs, for them also they are announcing the award. This year, Virudhunagar got the first award this year from Tamil Nadu. Cluster scheme, there are two schemes in that cluster itself. One is Spurti and another one is CDP. Okay, Spurti is less than 5 crores. If anybody wants to have the common facilities, common facility project of 10 crores, 5 crores below, those people can take this Spurti, and those who are crossing the 5 crores up to 30 crores, they can take the CDP. These are the schemes, sir. And some of the other facilities, what we are giving is delayed payment. MSME Act, you may be knowing very well. In that chapter 5, if you are taking, that is MSME Act is very clear. Okay, if any small scale industry is not getting payment within 45 days, beyond 45 days, they can file a case in the council, facilitation council, which is situated in the state government MSME department. In Tamil Nadu, 3 facilitation councils are there, but other states they are running one facilitation council. But this government has taken proactive role and they have started 3 councils. So any council they can approach and file the case. And 2 days back, one case I came to know. See, one person has supplied 65 lakhs worth of material to one last year industry. And 1 year passed, he didn't get payment. So meantime, what happened? He has approached the facilitation council, he filed the case and everything gone. And final verdict has come, awarding, they will say, that awarding it has come in the favor of the small scale industry. Okay. Despite of that, that person is not paying. Now tell me what we get. That's what he asked me. Okay, this type of cases are there, sir. Most of the people, they are not bothering about law and everything. But if any, and the beauty is, this large scale industries has filed a case against the small scale industry in the Mumbai High Court. That is the tragedy. Then he called me yesterday. This is the situation, sir. What I had to do. You told you are giving facilitation council. We will get you that money, and that money has not come to me. What we had to do. So what we had to do is, first, High Court should not admit the case. That is the law says. If at all they are admitting the case, in case, without knowing, there is a chapter 9(5), there is a clause number 19. If you are seeing very clearly, 75% of the outstanding amount to be remitted upfront before taking up the case. Most of the large scale industries, when that money will get back, they will not move. So they will compromise. Okay, I told him the same thing. You ask him to deposit 75% of the outstanding amount. As per the counter affidavit, he has to file like this. That what legal authorities, most probably they may not be knowing the laws, this audit act and everything. So being a auditors, chartered accountants, my only appeal is to educate your people. Okay, and what I was telling, some this I will cover first. That is delayed payment. There is one site, sir, samadhan.msme.gov.in. If you are going that, any small scale industry, if they are not getting any amount from the large scale industry, they can file the case there. It will be routed to respective facilitation council. Okay, that is one. And state government authorities also sometimes they are overloaded. So many cases are being filed. It is predicted that 1.5 lakhs worth of outstanding payments is pending from various departments. It is a huge amount to MSMEs. So, so many cases are being filed. They are not able to clear the cases. That situation may be there. Personally, if they are going to facilitation council, they may be taking a little bit interest to solve the issue. Before going, what I am educating them, I am getting almost every week some 10 to 20 people on this delayed payment. One gentleman has come, it is only 3 lakhs rupees, but for micro industries, 3 lakhs rupees turnover also, it's a good amount for him. From small scale industry at Hyderabad, he could not get that amount. He is also micro industry. He is supplying some flower pots to that Hyderabad company. So far, before COVID, that company was paying well to him in timely. But during this 6 months or something, they were not paying well, and timely they are not giving. That's what his apprehension. First, what we had to do is tell them to again request them, because once if a government department is involved, that customer he will get irritated and he will not further make the any orders, and those things first. Anybody is approaching to me, I will first discourage. You don't involve us. No, if you still insisting, I am there with you. I am there with you. But my request is, sir, I already 10 times I had it. Then I told him, see, Friday it happened. See, this is Friday. Saturday, Sunday, if you are giving any complaint to me, I cannot entertain. Being a closing day for us, weekend for us. Monday only I will come and join and do something for you. And a letter from us will go on Tuesday. You are having 3 days. Why can't you write one more mail? You tell him you are a very good person. Why? You have paid very good amount. So far, I was not having all. You price him. 2 years, 3 years, you have paid very well, and I never had a problem. and micro industry, 2 lakhs is a very good amount for me. It may be very small for you. If you are not giving to me, I am at the verge of closure of my duty, my company. Like that, you price him and submit your one more request. He has done. But today he didn't come to me. I don't know. I was waiting till 1:30. Meantime, your madam was keep on calling me. Veda gets started. So that is the day. Okay. So educate them. You write auditors. I was working at Visakhapatnam. One company actually they were giving service to CPCL. Around 65 lakhs outstanding. I told them same way. But if you are involving me, then your doors are closed for that company. If you are interested, you come to me. Then he tried. Then he told, no sir, it is not. Then are you ready that your doors are closed for that company? Yes sir. Then I had taken up the matter. First, what I have done is straight away. I don't want to go to legally. Once legally, if you are going, it is in prejudice. Why I should take care of like that? The classical industries, what is there? Government organizations, after all, they are all servants to a public sector undertaking. what they will lose? Company will bear the legal expenses and everything. They will fight it. Is it not? So what I will do with them? Don't do that. From my side, I will write a letter. I will write letter. Who is the topmost guy? CMD I have written letter. But it will take time. It will go to Delhi. From Delhi, it will come slowly to regional office to main person. And somewhere somebody will write a remark, no, what is happening, what is this issue, solve issues, please speak. Something they will write in government language. Okay. So ultimately it reached that CPCL fellow called him, Baba, what you have done? My CMD is involved. Sir, this is the situation. I don't want to lose your business. Please kindly make amount 65 lakhs or one that was around 2.5 crores, something like that. Very huge amount. He about to commit suicide. That much pathetic condition. Okay. So this is the situation, sir. What I had to do. I begged you. You didn't listen to me. So I asked Mr. Ravi, and he has written letter to me. I was not going. Ultimately, he got around slowly, around 30 lakhs something still outstanding. Just last week he called me, sir, because of you, I got most of the amount. Problem is, they are raising bills. Bills are submitted for GST. GST amount is being paid, and they are not getting. Poor people really, it is a pathetic situation for MSMEs. I don't know how to deal this. How to deal this? Even where we are rendering services in our common facility service, we are also facing same problems. Being a government organization, BAS is taking services from us for water samples and everything. Being a government, normally we will not pay any single penny. Okay, first. After we will not pay. So we'll pay, okay, you submit everything, I will make it. I will raise a bill, you raise a bill, I will send to my account service. Meantime, we are sending so many queries will be there. And ultimately bill will come, again we will reply and we will go, again it will come, it will oscillate. Okay, ultimately he will get fed up. So same thing, BAS outstanding payments are there for my center around 670 lakhs. Yesterday only I was asking that in charge. I was in charge per center. So when I was there, 30 lakhs was there, now it has grown up to 70 lakhs. But we are paying GST. What to do? So what we are doing all gimmicks. Some fund we are taking and putting in the e-ledger. It was very cumbersome, and I paid my personal money also. So that money will not come. And how much vigilance people will do on me, I don't know. Openly I am telling that is the situation. See, even government department is not facing this much problem. And what will be the condition of the MSMEs? You can imagine. And GST they are paying and they are not getting money from the last generation. Really burning problem. I don't know how to take. and so many representations given by all the industries. Even I also helped him to project into council. I gave live examples. Despite of that, nothing is happening.
Many industries are not listed as MSME because of this.
In your institute wise, anything could be done, please do. That is my, please do you from your side to represent the council, because you also might be coming across so many cases like this. That is my humble request. Okay, council you can represent, sir, as a CA congregation. You are all CA people, every industry you are touching, and very well project. These are the cases, we can give cases, how to deal it. And they are not in, GST people will be as a policing, they will come. They are doing their job. We cannot question them, no. And if any invoice in between missing, it is a credit basis, sir. We have given, sir, that's why we are removed. Again, they will come and put the stick on us. Even government they are doing. So same way maybe for the MSMEs. Okay. So that is one, sir. Another one, Udyam registration, it is going to be validity Udyam Aadhaar memorandum, Udyog Aadhaar memorandum, UAM, is going to be completed by this month ending. Okay, and it is happy to announce that Tamil Nadu is leading in registration of Udyam registration or migrations. #1 state in India. Before coming itself, I saw it. Really, any government comes to Tamil Nadu, I am not Tamilian. Shobhali, I will tell you. Really, I work in different states. Very nicely, they are doing. Any government comes in, they are pro-industrialization. That is where it is good. Okay. That is one, sir. And Udyam registration is one you can promote, sir. And grievances, there is one portal called champions.gov.in. You please promote this portal also. If any issue is there, any loan issue or delayed payment issue, facilitation council they are not doing, and you have to do. And I am getting with this also some delayed payment cases. Those who are not opposed to facilitation council, but amicably we will settle. We will ask that CMD, you tell respective authority to amicably settle, speak with them and finish it. And our footprint is there in all the states. We can tell our MSME DAs in each state, one DA will be there. I had requested Bangalore, one fellow recently they supplied, he has placed one order for the supply of the machine for the pet bottles, Tirunelveli company. And the Bangalore fellow, he has not supplied the machine. He has paid around 20 lakhs. So that is the issue. So I requested my DA Hyderabad, DA Bangalore to visit that company or do something. If that company fellow is not giving any response, then I instructed that our DA, requested my DA person, Bangalore director, to take care of through proper channel like district authorities. District authorities definitely they will listen because they are getting some schemes and everything, you know, subsidies, electricity subsidy, water subsidy, something. So if they are telling, they will listen. At least some response they will get. Baba, we cannot give now. I will give after 1 month, after 2 months, I will give machine like that. Something, some reply I will give. So that way we are playing. On board, all the public, most of the public sectors are on board in this champions portal. And apart from that, all ministries, all state governments, MSME departments. One more beauty is state government facilitation center is in state government, and other departments are much due is available from the other departments. So how these people are doing, I don't know. In Andhra, one case I have seen from irrigation department around 15 crores to be paid to one industry. Those people approached us. State government department, our facilitation council also situated in their hand only. So how they will deal? I have written to secretary. I can go because my I cannot approach the ministers or something like that. The protocol is there. I can approach at maximum director of industries. So I approach it. At maximum, I can go to secretary of industry, if I am having good terms. So I had it into the secretary. He told, okay, sir, we'll look into it. Again, he has to tell that secretary. So those things are there. Okay. So even that also they can file in this. And what is it? Almost all schemes are online in the basis, sir. They need not to come to any officer. Actually, tell them not to go to any government office. First, go in front of, sit in front of the system, search in the Google, but apply online. If any delay is there, let them come and visit what happened to my application. Like that, they can come. But one thing you have to tell is, just before coming also, I got one grievance. One lady has filed from Madurai. She approached one udyamregistration.org site. It is a fraudulent site. And home page and everything beautifully looks like the government because Hindi, English, everything. Or Tamilians, what will they? Hindi, English is there, it's a government site. Like that she thought and she has applied it. That fellow asked some 2,700 rupees and she paid it. And after 2 days, you will get a certificate like that. He told her. She told her. That fellow told her. Then meantime, what she has done, I was not knowing this story. She told me, sir, I am approaching on the site, this sponsor site, and they are not releasing my certificate. You please release your certificate. In champion portal, she filed. Then I returned everything. Why? This is not correct site. In that private site like that, they have written very small letters. Private site is written small letters. Okay, you would have seen it. And one more thing, what they have done is our udyamregistration.gov.in. If you are going, scroll will be there. Registration is free of cost. Don't make any payment. That scroll copied and pasted in the my reply also. This is the scroll is coming. This is the site is there. You have to do yourself. Don't make any payment, and it needs only small information from you, and they won't require any documents. I written and sent the grievance. And yesterday it happened. And today she sent that, sir, I made 2,700 rupees to that gentleman. How to get back? No answer for me. The write off. That's it. So please educate the process, sir. Some points I have written. Really, chartered accountants, that's what I want to comment. See, Udyam registration, what happened? Both portfolios are with me only. In Tamil Nadu. Udyam registration and champion. In our office, there are 2 joint directors. I am one, another person, another guy is Babuji. He is head of the office. He is a little senior. So these 2 portfolios are with me. So every day I am replying this all grievances. So most of the people are coming to my place. I will be giving guidance to them. So what I observed from the grievances, sometimes for your easy working or something like that, I don't know. Most of the people may not be doing it. Everybody is doing like that. I am not complaining. Don't take in different way. So no, just I'm giving a hint, suggestions. It is only suggestions purely. Please don't take personally. So what happened? Any editing on any edit option, if you want to go anyone Udyam registration, that those editing cannot be done unless you have registered mobile number with you or registered email ID with you. So what is happening is these auditors, not most of the people, auditors, what they are having, they are giving their employees numbers or some number so that anyway urgent registration should happen. So with that they are giving. I feel like it. I don't know what is your mode of operandi. I don't know how you are operating and everything, but normally I feel like it. So you might be telling somebody to from your assistant or somebody to register it. From his number and mobile email ID, he will register. Later on, that company has changed the auditor. And then what will be the condition of the? You imagine. He is telling, sir, I want to edit it, but I am not getting OTP. So when I checked, sir, this is the mobile number. Are you having this? No, sir, this is not. Whose number, sir? I don't know. That fellow also might be not knowing that whose number. And then I used to tell him, you would have told somebody to do your registration. Probably that may be your auditor or maybe your friend, maybe some, they may be doing in our this Seva in Andhra. I don't know in Tamil Nadu what is it. Like that, they may be going and get it done. We don't know. Somebody would have done. Then how to get OTP? Unless he gets the OTP, we cannot have it. So for that lengthy procedure, sir, very lengthy procedure. No, we cannot change it. It's not, rights are not there with me. I had to refer to head office, and head office also not happy, and it has to refer to NIC, National Informatics Center. So very tedious. Almost every day.
Can be linked like the same number with Aadhaar can only be used for the Vidya registration.
Aadhaar is only for entering into the Vidya registration, sir. Madam.
So if you can give a suggestion
No,
to
sir, no, they are not taking it because Vidya registration is mainly linked with the PAN number. Because he may be knowing it. Vidya registration is a dynamic now. Okay, this also I want to tell you. That is one more issue. Okay, Vidya registration is dynamic. So based on the ITR filing and GST paid, this is status is getting changed. Okay. In exhibition, one fellow approached me. He brought the certificate. Okay, it was a small scale industry. I thought it is eligible, but I will. The PMS is also with me. I just casually I gone to my site and checked what is the status. Recent ITR when we filed that the status has gone to the so not eligible, sir. So I told him it's not eligible. Sorry, why can't you take that word certificate? Baba, I can take the word certificate. I will be sued. I cannot do this. Don't do this type of things. Let us go as per with the registration. So what auditors indulge ITR filing and normally what is happening is this sales and everything they are hiding. What was this?
not possible.
You may be knowing person, but I cannot openly tell them. So see, they are not doing. Actually, 1 minute, sir. 1 minute. Only 1 minute. 1 minute. So what is happening on facts of the sales only? You will be taking into what they produce. It's not your mistake. They will be telling only this. So you will be doing that only. Okay. So in that what I am telling, so as per if any large scale, if any small or medium scale industries are deficient of funds, lack of funds for their working capital. Okay, all the financial institutions what they are doing based on the turnover only. Okay, the turnover 20% they will be giving as a loan. Once facts are not known, the 20% if they are putting it, it will be very less amount, which may not be sufficient for them. They are coming to us, sir, we want 30 lakhs. But when they are seeing the audit statement, CA beautifully will sign it. In that turnover is only less amount, he can get only 20% of that, it may be 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs. It is not sufficient for them. So this aspect I am submitting in front of you. That is one side. Working capital 20, what are they are projecting? That only turnover only they do. And a balance sheet, is there any fixed format for the balance sheet?
For the companies we have, so even for the non-corporate.
But some of the balance sheets we are doing, we are seeing only they are typing and one letter and
So
signing it.
actually, just I would like to clarify. So here it is like, when they say auditor, it does not necessarily refer to chartered accountants. So there is one other category of people who call themselves as auditors, but not actually auditors.
Auditors,
So
qualified,
mostly
they
the
are not
problem
qualified.
comes there.
Sir, I will tell you, in Tripura, there are 300 auditors, 2,500 non-components. And they claim themselves as auditor. Actually, you should have to take it back.
Yes, I
So
think
actually you are getting
it should be. What SR is telling is a pakka, really.
So whenever you're
Maybe.
getting the next balance sheet, you're looking as somebody has signed, there is something
Number
called as UDIN. No, membership number also they take.
Identification number is
There is
given for every.
Certificate, every signature. So when I'm doing a signature, I'll have to generate a unique identification number for that signature. You can verify if what
Portal,
chartered
you
accountant
see a
has
portal.
signed. So that awareness has to come. So that is one. So
You
they
must
should
be-
differentiate between a chartered accountant signed and a auditor
So
signed.
he must be the member and he should have said. To check that, you go to the site and see.
So there we enter the values, and today like all this capacity and the turnover mismatch cannot happen because there is artificial intelligence built in GST and income tax. So when you're looking at the investment, the cost you're claiming and the turnover does not match, immediately there will be a notice. So that's there is
So
GST and income
that
tax.
could be the reason where I'm getting so many grievances.
This
Maybe.
identification number, while doing that, he has to mention some numbers.
All the numbers which we certify.
Important numbers he has to mention, so you can cross check.
Okay, good information. Thank you. See, what happened is the auditor statement when you are submitting it, probably somebody is submitting it, that may not be having full information. And based on that, they will be keen in the our software, on the national awards. What happening? Some of the parameters, which are not reflecting properly, and once it is not reflected properly, we have to take it as a 0. Then they will be losing the numbers, points. So you can tell your anybody is approaching or anybody is applying for the national awards. It is a recognition, they can display it everywhere. So it is a good on all India basis. So many companies are applying. 270 companies applied this year from Tamil Nadu. None of the people got eligibility. That is the sad end. So many problems, each and everything, and they were not knowing. We used to tell them, you come, you just ask us what you have to submit. That also they will not do. Somebody they will tell you, okay, award is coming, you apply. These are the documents they require, online only, we keep on applying. Then auditors, as Sir was telling, maybe not qualified persons, we don't know. But that is the situation. More people applying is good always. It is we should.
And one more, sir, MSME registration, all Kirana shops are also doing it. Xerox shops, retailers are also doing it.
No, that is, I think it is stopped recently. And traders and everything, there is no facility, sir. If they are applying also more.
No, the work is being carried out by the local Xerox shop. We do.
Yes. I agree with you. That's what I told. No, or somebody might be doing from computer. Little mobile knowledge person also doing it. That is true. What you are telling. Sir, one thing, one PAN number, one Udyam registration. You may be aware of it. Okay. Suppose one company is having partnership company, and that company is having a PAN number separately. The proprietor is having another company, but he can open another company. Okay, with his PAN number, it's not company. Sir, one more thing, I don't know. This auditors, whenever they are approaching any unemployed youth or existing companies, one is a term called this. You may be knowing this moratorium period. That should be invariably mentioned in the project reports. but please take care of it. Most of the people, what they are doing, whenever they are approaching any person, they are preparing the project reports and submitting it. In that, they are not mentioning the monitor. This fellow, without knowing, he will go and submit the land, and their land will issue the loan. Very next month, first day, he will come in front of our door. You make them first installment EMI. This fellow will be in super. Production not yet started. Hey, he has to buy the machines, he has to. That is not possible, no. So moratorium period should be invariably in the project report itself. You have to mention, not in public. Project report itself. What is the loan? Loan also get it, sir. What scheme you are applying? I don't know what is the subsidizing scheme or credit collateral free scheme. Educate them to go for collateral schemes. That is better. That is better because easily they will get it. Okay, up to 10 lakhs, they cannot give any surety, and they can get loan immediately, and they can start. First, educate them not to take any loan. I do that only. This recently, one fellow came, he wants to start a carpentry shop. He was asking me 5 lakhs loan, I told him 5 lakhs, why you require? Some machines required, sir, that planer is required, cutter is required, okay, those are all required, I agree with you. What I educated him is, see, you are having 1 lakh or not? Yes, sir, I am. Tools, normal tools, so drilling machine or cutting machine, that may be 2,300, some 3,000, 5,000, 4,000 maybe. At maximum 10,000 he can start. That's what my feeling. Remaining 90,000, don't spend it. 10,000 you start. Meantime, what you have to do is you start applying loan through schemed loan. By that time, you will establish, you will get some confidence. By the time it releases, all formalities are very high. No, government will not give subsidy just like that. So many they will ask. So after finishing of all those things, by that time he will get 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs, whatever he needs. That can be. Shall I stop, madam? Okay. I over. One more point is it that I will cover. So by that time he will have confidence and he will get the amount and he can expand it. That's what I. So try to tell them not to take loan. One good thing what I have seen in your MSME, one cell is there here.
Yes, sir.
R is the no, your name was there. Committee. Only for this. Okay.
And here also SIS is talking.
We have this.
No, if any contact details if I am getting, I would be very grateful.
Sure.
So that
I give my thoughts.
I had given. I am having. I saved here, sir. Okay.
So you can
Immediately I saved here.
Yeah, we can do so.
Yes. Okay. From this institute side also you are sharing it. Yes, very nice. Sir, at the end, see how much struggle MSMEs are getting to satisfy so many stakeholders to improve our Indian economy. So, we have to recognize their struggle. They have to satisfy so many persons like customers. They have to satisfy, and suppliers. They had to give the faith. They had to give faith on suppliers also. Okay, and the financial institutions, since they are taking loan, and the regulatory authorities like state government or whatever it is. And by one more thing, their employees, first employees, and their own families, they have to give faith to them. So I very hands up to them. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Sorry, I have taken a lot of time.
Thank you, Gadde sir. Thank you for briefing about the various handholding schemes both by the state and the central government for MSMEs, and also sharing your real-time experiences with us, sir. We are now moving to the last technical session for today. MSME funding. May I now request Sudhanidhi PV, Senior Manager Training, Bank of Baroda, to handle the session.
Respected people on the dais, they are all eminent people. I am from the bank, the institution from where the funds flow to the MSME, and that's what I have come here to discuss today. I had heard a lot of deliberation on MSME, and I definitely feel the concern of both the government and the chartered accountant body in bringing up the MSME to a higher level to yes, thank you. So actually, it's a privilege for a bank employee to be in such a forum amidst great people, eminent people. So I would make my deliberation short and go directly into the various schemes or flow of credit towards MSME. So actually, MSME, you may be knowing. This is just a snapshot of what MSME is. It provides employment. That's one. It's a contributor of GDP. Everyone has told 40 to 45% of exports, and it's a growth engine for the economy. So such a great sector, it should be given a lot of trust. Okay, and of course, government is pushing a lot of things to help them. And we as bankers also try to implement everything and also cater to the needs of the MSME at the right time. Right? See, one of the initiative by any bank will be centralizing the processing of MSMEs, of MSME proposals. So what happens is the concentration of expertise at a particular center so that the credit delivery is fast. Otherwise, what happens if you take Bank of Baroda, we are having around 8,600 branches. So not everyone may be competent enough to process the proposal. So what the bank has done is it has started a processing center for MSMEs, and so that the credit delivery is fast and we have the expertise to process the loans. So we have around, it's not 42, it's the old figure. We have more than 200 processing centers in the country to cater to the MSMEs. One more initiative is the rate of interest is now not based on the rating. Previously, the credit rating was very instrumental in pricing the loan. Now pricing of the loan is done by the CIBIL CMR score, CIBIL MSME rating. See, CIBIL not only gives rating for the individuals, it also gives ratings for institutions. And now they are giving a score based on the portfolio track record. They are giving a credit score for every institution through CIBIL. So that score we are basing to rate the loan. So why I am telling this is this helps in improving the TAT, and credit delivery will be fast. That is one of the ideas. And okay. Actually, to give a short snapshot, actually, the credit in banks, predominantly the private public sector banks, we have bifurcated into 4 categories, like say general MSME credit. That is, people who do not fall under the schematic lending or the government sponsored schemes or some new initiatives with the bank or the government has taken. Okay, so they are categorized mainly into 4. One is the schematic lending. Second is the government sponsored scheme lending. Third is general MSME lending, who do not fall in the above 2. And the last one is the new initiatives by the government, which the bank also encourages, right? In that, if you see the schematic lending, some clusters of or a group of MSMEs who fall in line in the same category, for them schemes are made so that the lending becomes very easy. Unlike the general MSME lending, where you have a gamut of things to be appraised to the sanctioning authority to make a proposal. But here, because it's a scheme, it becomes very easy. So if suppose the Vidyasthini scheme, so it's a scheme where we finance the educational institutions, okay, under MSME. So the idea of this is, it's not to go into the scheme. I have brought this PPT because it was with me, but the idea is forming schemes for a particular cluster. That is very important. So the bank tries to schematize the lending so that it becomes easy for the processing officer and the credit delivery will be fast. Yes, yes.
On the first scheme, I had given a proposal to the Bank of Baroda ignore.
Okay.
The same scheme for a construction. These guys have rejected the proposal. Just 6 checks have got bounced during the COVID period, and they rejected the proposal for 4%. I find it very difficult, in spite of 150%, I will believe to give the collateral, the existing running school.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your effort and the bank station. There are certain policy guidelines which are laid down by the bank, by the corporate office. If the policy guidelines go by the statistics which have been taken up, or the management information system which is churned out from the past experience. So there is a strict guideline that the 5th check should not bounce in any account. That is viewed very seriously. Okay, if somebody is having a check bounce of more than 4 or 5, even review we cannot do it. It has to go to the next higher authority, or a certain clearance is required. So probably that is why it was a hindrance. Collateral, of course, okay.
No, but I will tell you, I have been handling all. My father is from Sudan of India.
Okay.
I have given it to 2 banks. Each of bank, payment bank, they gave the funding. And during the COVID period, and that check was also for these guys are not under restructuring. COVID first March to.
Yes, there was a restructuring facility.
Your bank has to undergo, because I was getting claims in treasury when I was handling Bank of Baroda directly in Baroda. So you people are not so convincing you.
Sir, I do agree. See, this is, as I told you, we are not a single branch organization. It's around 8,500 branches. So managing that at each point, we cannot have decision-making powers. So what happens? The management takes a risk-based judgment, and they give what do you call a circular stating that this is what is the guideline. So once we start following the guideline, yes, some may not fall into that guideline, so we have to reject. Okay, it would have been a COVID situation. They should have taken a special call. There should have been a what do you call exemption for that. or some higher authority taking a view on that. Okay, but still policies we cannot overrule in the sense we have to run a bank of a huge size. Okay, you would have told about a small banking having done that. It is about the policy of that particular bank. Now, see, if you take, we were the pioneer in bringing CIBIL score into our lending. Bank of Baroda was a pioneer. But why did we do this? Because of the risk perception. We told above 720 or 20 only we will take. That means we wanted the good customers, prime customers. And of course, it's needed to point out that you would have known what about 2008 crisis. It's nothing but subprime crisis. So people are learning. And I do agree that many cases, even I have referred an education loan which could not be done because of policy guidelines. Okay, it was my close friend, but I had to cut my nose and I had to come back. So these things happen in a very big organization. That doesn't mean that the organization is going down. If you see our operating profit is more than 22,000 crores, it tells that business is happening, right? But okay, one case it happens. I do agree. It's not a single case. Also, there are so many cases which happen. But as a policy, we take it forward, right? And regarding these contractors or the schools, colleges lending, we were doing it standalone. That means everyone was trying to process. So they tried to schematize the lending, so it becomes easy for the banker to handle, right? I will straight away go to. Actually, this is not the sorry, this was the one which I had to present. I was carried away by that. Okay, no issues. Yes. So I think this is the act. Everyone knows. See, the scope of this presentation is the MSME lending or the funds flow is through this four method. That is what I discussed. And SME loan factory I discussed. Then these are the new initiatives. If you see, we have come into this commercial vehicle finance in a big way. Then vendor bill discounting. It's not conventional credit, if you see. Then the contractor scheme was devised. Then Bob GST receivable card. That is whatever GST we have to get back. It may be delayed. For that we are financing. Then Baroda e-business pack. That is for people who are doing e-business. We finance them. So Amazon's customers or say suppliers. Then supply chain finance. Yes, we are doing. Then trades. I will discuss all these things. Then overdraft for e-commerce business. Then this CIBIL MSME rating-based rate of interest. Then realignment of interest rate structure for MSME advances with linkage to security and the CIBIL CMR score. And now the interest rate is also linked to the repo rate. These are the advantages what you get as and when the bank is aligning itself to the government policies and also trying to help the MSMEs, right? Way forward, what the bank is thinking, cluster-based finance, then shift from balance sheet funding to cash flow funding. This is one breakthrough, what do you call, initiative taken by the bank. Now we are trying to finance through the cash flow in the business, rather than going to the balance sheet and finding all the financials, everything. So making the assessment easy and also the funds flow easy to the MSME. Then tailor-made products that you will see. Then strategic tie-up with various organizations for bulk MSME business.
That is like say this, yes, yes. And then capacity building and training. Capacity building is for us, the employees, to know more about credit and then the art of making a proposal and delivering credit, including documentation, everything. Then end-to-end tracking system we have developed. We have got one system known as Life LLPS, lending straight through process, right from starting to ending up to the loan closure. We have a process so that what happens, the process will become very fast and it is a record permanently. So future monitoring of the account also will become easy. Okay. Then GST enabling finance, enabled financing. Then centralization of documentation. Then straight through process is through this services, like say PSB 59 minutes scheme has come where online loan portal is there. You apply and get the loan, or say get the primary approval for the loan. These are way forward. And we will go to this GST receivable card. Just see the snapshot so that you can understand how the finance is being done. So GST supplier is the purchases by the institution, supplier is supplying goods, then GST of 28%, the supply price, sale price is 100, then 128, then you see availing input tax credit of 7.5, unavailed input tax credit of 20.5. So like that, the input tax credit gets accumulated and gets delayed for payment from the government. So that bank will finance payment within, and then he will be paying within 3 months. So funding against the eligible ITC, and then he will be paying within 3 months once he gets from the government. Okay, this one we have done. That is about that receivable card. And what is the maximum that the bank decides how much to give. Then see the contractor scheme. Registered civil construction, electrical, mechanical, mining, laborers, everything there, the target group. Overdraft, term loan, bank guarantee, letter of credit, all the fund-based and non-fund-based credit is given. Then scheme guidelines. Even second-hand plant and machinery is also financed. And the quantum of finance maximum 100 crores with fund-based of 25 and non-fund-based of 75 crores. And all these limits are only illustrative. Sky is the limit for the bank. It's only what amount we require. We can go across the scheme to get the limits. Then e-business pack. Okay. Now coming to this threads. This I think there was a mention from the elite group on the stage that the bills of this MSMEs are not being paid in time. This was one of the beautiful initiatives brought by the government of India, where the bills are put in a digital exchange, and any bank can quote to finance on that. And this will be a bill which will be accepted by the corporate. The corporate will also be member of this TREDS. Okay. So we can just go through that to understand it. But TREDS is a digital exchange to facilitate discounting of invoice bills of MSME through bidding process for price discovery. The beautiful thing is that price discovery, correct? So MSME is stuck to one bank, has limited scope of price discovery. Once he is in the public or the market, then he has a better, he gets a better price. Okay, and powerful network effect. Multiple banks control on board on platform, but any bank can discount any corporate bill. So now the bill finance is open to the market and anybody can finance. So there will be a lot of benefit to the MSME. And ensures prompt realization of trade receivables at competitive rates without recourse to the MSME cell. That's a beautiful point. The There is no recourse to the bank if the corporate is not paying. The MSME is free now. He gets the finance and he goes out. Now the payment has to be done with the corporate. Now, why there is prompt realization? We were discussing in the dais that there was no prompt payment from the corporates. Now, once this is on the platform, what happens? Their reputation of the corporate goes down if they are not paying in time. So they will be rated down, and their rating, that is the external rating done by CRISIL or ICRA, they come down. So their finance gets affected. So it's a wonderful platform. I don't know why the small MSMEs are not.
Empanelment is not there. That is the problem. Like I am utilizing, like Bank of Baroda has to pay me. Bank of Baroda also should be there. Only then CRCS will work. Many cases the corporates are not getting it panel.
I think above 500 crores or something, the limit is there. They are compulsory to be.
But it's like there are other categories. Above 500 crores, hardly like MSME take that. Gap is very wide.
I think going forward, that probably they may scale down the limits. So everyone comes into this. And that will be a wonderful, healthy, what do you call, system. And digital hassle-free documentation, one-time master agreement. Suppose I go to any time, in one document is enough to complete the documentation. Then digital uploading, accepting, discounting, trading, and settlement of invoice bills of MSME sellers. Everything is digital. Everything sitting in their office, they can do this invoicing and then discounting everything, right? And low cost of financing to MSME as finance based on buyer's credit worthiness. So the MSMEs also will get the finance at a very, very low cost. And these are the people in the exchange who are controlling this, like your stock exchange, you have Bombay Stock Exchange and NSE, right? Now you can see here just a snapshot. MSME entities as per the definition of MSME Act, the Act, they are the sellers and the buyers are the corporates and the financiers are the banks and the NBFCs. They are there in this threads. The next product what the bank has brought in is, of course, this product is there in the market, but we are also the leading supplier of this product. It is supply chain finance. So in this, of course, everyone will be knowing, but the beauty is this is in addition to the normal working capital limit what the MSME is having. So they can use this product so that they get the finance immediately. What the bank does is they catch hold of one anchor. Suppose we take Maruti. Maruti will have both suppliers as well as their dealers. Okay. So what bank does is we enter into an agreement with the anchor, the Maruti, and the Maruti will give their suppliers to us. So we can go and canvas them to avail the supply chain finance credit. So if you see the bills which the supplier supplies to the vendor will be immediately discounted by the bank on the faith that or not on the strength that the anchor will definitely pay on the due date. That is the agreement. So the finance becomes very quick and everything is digitalized. And everyone, the purchase order comes through this supply chain finance. Then his bills goes through supply chain finance, and the banks also in line. So they also immediately releases the credit. Everything happens in no time. So that is the beauty of this. And one more thing is the credit, the repayment is assured for the banks. So that is why this is a very beautiful product. Going forward, what I feel is even CC, the credit, cash credit, which normally the MSME take will be taken away and completely will be through bill finance. And the beauty of bill finance is the end use is assured. Unlike your CC, we have seen a lot of diversion happening. Banks have no control on that. Whatever amount of inspections and other things we do, we are also helpless because of the
lower staff strength to handle all these things. So the transparency is very high here. Similarly, dealer finance we do. Whatever the dealer wants to purchase, we'll finance under the one agreement that if the dealer fails to pay the bank, the dealership from the anchor will be cut off. That is the agreement with the anchor. So this is also a beautiful product. Going forward, this will be a wonderful product for the MSMEs. Then value chain financing, of course, all the the stakeholders in the chain can be financed. That is value chain financing. The benefits of value chain financing: the new customer base for the bank, more partnerships in the value chain segment, multiplicity of business relationship, then information flow through various links, and good visibility control of the trade cycle. This is healthy for the industry as a whole. Many of the, most of the problems, even our government department was discussing, Mr. Ravi, there is no much transparency in the system. So if such digitalized products come, there will be a lot of transparency and stronger monitoring of loans and early warning signals, because it is completely linked with the value chain. Everyone in the chain, we know what is happening, because for everyone we are financed. Even actually the end use of funds. The value chain finance, I have given a small snapshot how things happen. It is not only for the first derivative supplier, it is also for the second derivative supplier also. So that is a small example. I hope you can understand. So there is the bank and the corporate loans, then SME loans to OEMs, then the loans to the derivative, first derivative, second derivative.
Yeah, that will supply only to Bank of Baroda customers, whether it is vendors or OEMs or large corporates. All of them are Bank of Baroda customers. It is easier. But when somebody is with Union Bank, somebody with SBI, and then every.
That is what we want to achieve through this value chain finance. We try to get in, bring them everything into this one single bank. I do agree. Yes, your apprehension is right. It's very, very difficult to bring everyone, but that's a process where the bank tries to do. Probably they may cut down on its charges or interest to bring everyone in line, and it will facilitate everyone because everything becomes transparent and fast. If somebody wants quick service, probably it's a good system, but yes. So, but I do agree, but it's a process. It's all what future, what we are trying to achieve. Though we are in this line, but as you said, not everyone in the chain will be coming to us. So we will try to canvas them as much as possible by discounting something, right? So see, everything depends upon how hard we work and try to get things done. And of course, we feel that it is for the country what we are doing ultimately. That feel should be there, and probably I should not say that the younger generation, we don't have that much of attachment to do. As somebody was pointing out, you should salute the entrepreneur. How much trouble it takes to start a unit, right from the land, building, labor, state government, all the facilities, approvals, and then he has to fight with the suppliers, then the the customers, and then the banks. And why did I come join a bank? Simply write an exam, join the bank, assured of the salary, and go on working. Correct? But you see, I really salute the people who come to me. I know the pain. Correct? But that should go down the line to every employee. Correct? Even in the society, they should give respect. Of course, that is also diluted because some people do mischief. Okay. But as a country as a whole,
We have to take it along, like say in the family, we have 5 people and we get along with everyone with all their shortcomings, correct? So this is also like that, we should be patient enough to develop. That is how the country has developed to this extent. So everyone has a role to play. So fintech initiatives also we have done. The government is also supporting. We started with that PSB 59, where they wanted to give loan in 59 minutes. That was a wonderful initiative. Because of that, every bank has now come up with their own financial fintech product. So the advantage of the fintech is application will be online, financing basis will be turnaround based, turnover based, and the turnaround time for giving a loan will be drastically reduced. Say they say 15 days to 2 days. Okay, it's all in paper, of course. Then type of facility will be overdraft, sanction, multiple branch visits, no 100% online. Then the cash flow is ring fenced. Unlike in the old system, we don't have any control. But here, because online means everything is completely controlled. No, it's our own product. Credit monthly, they are service products. Yes. In threads, if you see, I would like to mention the Bank of Baroda's volume in threads. They are the 3 what do you call service providers in threads. We have done around 245 crores as finance through threads. Sorry, total in that. Bob share is 97 crores. Percentage of share is around 39%. So the finance given by Bank of Baroda in threads, of course, that time is around 97 crores. So going forward, this will percolate down to the rank, the smallest MSME also, and it may help them in getting their money quickly. PSB loans in 59 minutes, of course, everyone knows government has encouraged this. Online marketplace to cater to various financial aspirational individuals, new benchmark in loan processing by reducing turnaround time or in principle approval in 59 minutes. Then post receiving in principle approval, 7 to 8 working days, we deliver the loan. And the platform is currently being used by more than 25 PSUs. Okay, and benefits. And now every bank has come out with their own e-platform for loans. Now we have loans even on our mobile phones. You can get personal loan and just like with in our Bank of Baroda mobile phone, M-Connect. So nowadays we have this Mudra loan and this working capital MSME funding through online portal. So the products covered on MSME through our mobile banking. Up to 5 crores, we can give agreement in principle for a MSME agreement. And processing time is just 30 minutes. And of course, for all this, Udyami registration is compulsory. Okay. E-loans on digital lending platform. So I think this once again a repetition. Rate of interest, I think we discussed. It is linked to the CIBIL MSME rating, and loans up to 7.5 lakhs we are giving as per the rating. Not any financials are seen. Just by this rating, the rate of interest is being quoted. And commercial vehicle finance, the product, we have 4 types of subdivisions of the product: strategic fleet operators, first time users, captive customers like schools, colleges, then retail and small transport operators. So all these products are outcome of the
research done by the team at the top level, the MSME vertical, so that the processing and the delivery is fast. And we are approaching the right customer because we know the scheme. It's not general MSME lending. General MSME lending is very broad and nobody knows where to start and where to end. So these schemes are very beautiful in the sense that, yes, there is a school opening now after COVID. Colleges are opening. So now we will go hit the captive customers, the colleges. So even the branches, they are they know the product, so they quickly go to the spot. Unlike you tell you go for MSME lending. Why I'm telling is we are trying to approach the MSME as fast as possible for delivery, right? So there are a lot of schemes with the bank. I will just read the schemes only. I don't go down into the schemes. So many schemes have been devised by the bank so that it will be more specific to the MSME, particular MSME, so that the banker becomes it becomes very easy for the banker to identify and target and then process the proposal quickly. Okay, that is why all these schemes have been devised. Then of course, all the schemes have quoted because this is a PPT which we use in our bank for our staff to learn. Then, of course, Stand Up India, just a small brush through, minimum 10 lakhs and up to 100 lakhs without any collateral, as our sir Ravi was telling. The beauty is we cover all this through CGTMS. So the collateral problem is not there. So we cover it for the MSME, it is always better. They need not worry about the collateral security. Then PMMA also up to 10 lakhs we give without collateral security, and this is also covered by CGTMS. Nowadays, regarding the schemes, it's available in the bank's website, any bank's website, and the government schemes are also available in the government websites, MSME websites. So schemes anybody can go through. Now, credit-linked capital subsidy scheme. CLCSS provides 15% subsidy for additional investment up to rupees 1 crore to technology upgradation by MSMEs. The idea is our product should be in line with the global standards and should be able to sell the product. That's the idea about the CLCSS, which the government has initiated. Predominantly in textiles, it's more pronounced. So the capital subsidy is provided by the government that we enable the MSMEs to get the subsidy. Then credit, the CGTMSE, Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises, the guarantee loans given to micro small up to 200 lakhs. So any MSME can borrow up to 200 lakhs with that is for manufacturing unit with CGTMSE cover without giving any collateral. Retail trade up to 100 lakhs now they are allowing, and the coverage for the loan is 75% for manufacturing and services and 50% for retail trade. This is the gist of CGTMSE. So this enables the MSME to get credit without any collateral up to 200 lakhs. So that is about the presentation. In fact, this is the first ever time I had to address such an august gathering. Of course, some viewers are there. I am really rather happy
that to be amidst a elite group. I am a trainer, of course, I train a lot of people there in the system for 6 years. But here I got a different perception. How many people are helping? We thought bank is only helping the MSME, unfortunately. And now I learned that we are only at the end who are trying to, what do you call, implement the ideas which the CA institutes are recommending to the government, which are ultimately coming out as policy guidelines. And these are the people who are recommending to the government for the upliftment or the benefit to be passed on to the MSME. I am really happy and proud that I was part of this session. Really. It was an eye-opening for me. So I was thinking that banks are doing great. But of course, I do know that government policies are there. Like say private sector, everyone knows 40% of the bank lending goes to private sector. The importance I know to increase employment, to increase agriculture. Otherwise, people will leave those and they come to the cities, and the country may be in chaos if private sector is not there. That much importance we know. But policy guidelines where they are emanating, the Prime Minister himself cannot write something, this is MSME guidelines. No. Now I am really happy to be associated with this. I will take this forward also. So thank you for the great opportunity, ma'am.
Thank you, Sudhanidhi sir. Thank you for briefing us through the various funding schemes available for MSME. With that, we have come to the conclusion of all the 3 technical sessions. It's time now to honor our speakers. Gadde Ravi sir has already called it a day due to an emergency meeting. We already honored him. Photo of the same is being shared here for your reference. May now request Mrs. Chitra, Secretary, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to come forward and honor our first speaker, Subashini. It's time now to honor Sudhanidhi sir. So EFC has arranged coffee and refreshment at the canopy opposite to this hall. You please do join. Before the wind of this session, may I request Mr. Anand Rajagopal, Chairman MSME Committee of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to formally deliver a vote of thanks.
Good evening to all of you. First speaker, Madam Subashini, talked about the business advisory services and what the CA Institute and the Chartered Accountants do for the MSME community. I am a representative of the MSME community. Madam talked about the possibilities, creating records, digitalization, compliance issues, finance credit, which is one of the key issues that the MSME customers, MSME vendors face. And she also assured from startup to find growth stage, and even probably during the later stages when they go public or when they take venture funding, the CA institutes can handhold and work with them. So that was the crux of the issue and crux of the discussion. She also talked about scaling up and being a partner in the scale-up process. The reserves, how do you build up the reserves in a systematic way? Take it one step at a time. She talked about the entire detail all these details in depth. As an MSME representative, I would like to put forth to the CA Institute two particular case scenarios. One, we talk about, as an MSME company, what is important? My productivity should improve on a regular basis, every quarter, every half year or a year. We want to see improvement in productivity. Whether it is a manufacturing company, whether it is a service industry, it is different. But we want to see improvement in productivity. And today the focus is also on reducing cost and energy efficiency. When you talk about energy efficiency, you talk about IoT, Internet of Things, all the embedded devices to monitor the energy consumption in each and every cost center or each and every machine in the manufacturing process, which is very, very critical. And finally, the MSMEs would be happy. Today what they are doing is they are training the youth and then exporting this manpower to bigger, larger multinational companies who happily recruit them and pay them higher salaries. That is the state of the industry today, MSMEs. That is the nature, let me put it that way. They can only afford X amount of salary and then they are trained very well. The youngsters have better opportunities elsewhere. They take up better opportunities, but this is a recurring thing. Training, skilling, goes on all the time. Here, if I want to improve productivity or monitor energy efficiency, then it kind of a capital investment comes into picture. Now, capital investment, I have to justify. This is a project report I prepare. Okay, I'm also an MSME industry. I have some credit from the bankers. I have some, fund-based credit, non-fund-based credit, whatever it is. Now, when I approach the banker, with due respect to all the bankers, the first question we get asked is, what is the additional collateral that you can bring in? Okay, there are a number of schemes. CGT, MSC is there, other schemes are there. But still, when I already have 1 crore, 2 crore loans and I want to go in for an expansion, I say I have this beautiful vision. Leave the vision aside, a strategy. I want to take these concrete measures and I'm going for a loan. The first question is this: yes, this is the project report. I'm implementing IoT. I will be able to monitor exactly the energy consumption and the projection in saving is 25%. But still, what is the collateral that you can bring? That is your business you are running. So this is the kind of scenario we are also faced with as an MSME company. In such a case, can CA Institute help? I don't know. Chartered engineers are there as a profession who are also responsible. But can they vet those numbers? Due diligence, you talked about due diligence, fella. Can you vet those numbers and say, I have done my due diligence? Like GST, you are doing the due diligence. Same way, can you do the due diligence and assure the banker that whatever numbers are there projected by MSME is in fact true and correct to the best of the, data available. If that can be done and the banker can accept that, I think a lot of MSMEs will benefit and they will be able to implement the schemes to improve their productivity and the energy efficiency, even climate consciousness. Whatever you do, ultimately a capital expenditure, a huge chunk has to be invested. If you can handhold in a particular scenario, climate change or energy efficiency or productivity improvement, if the metrics can be measured, documented, presented to the banker in such a way that the MSME will benefit. Also, at the same time, you do your due diligence with the MSME, see whether it is right. I think that will be a big help to the MSME community as such. The second scenario, as far as this is concerned, today, if you see a number of
first generation, maybe even family-owned businesses, the next generation is not willing to come into this industry because of whatever reason. Software is a booming field. Everybody is getting into software. They have studied in Harvard, they have studied in Princeton, wherever it is. And they don't want to come into this and then, sweat and, toil. You have built this industry for 25 years, 20 years. No second generation. Succession planning. Okay, professionals can be involved, but as an MSME, you have limitations. Like what I said, you export manpower to the bigger organizations. So getting the right type of talent is also difficult for MSMEs. Unless you are willing to match the pay scale of an MSME or a bigger, larger, corporate company, how do you survive? And what is the succession plan? I don't have the next generation. I need professionals who can build the company to take the company to the next level, not destroy the company. So I need talent. What is the solution there? It's a very tricky situation. This is where I feel one option, I'm just throwing this open. I mean, just as a solution provider, you can think about it. There are n number of companies like this, complementary companies. Can they be merged? Merged, you go to the High Court, it is a 6 month process. Shareholding, you have to see the liabilities, creditors, no creditors. All people have to sign before I merge one company to another because liabilities are different, collaterals are given. It's a cumbersome process, I also understand. The owners are given, the hard-earned, whatever, collateral, housing, land, building, everything is collateral from this industry, that industry. But in principle, we are willing to merge and take the company public so that we can employ the right talent. Professionals to run the company and take it to the next level. Is it possible? Practically, it should be possible, but I know there are bottlenecks. Can this be a solution? Take this as a scenario, case study, and implement a group where I can tell you there are n number of companies, MSMEs willing to sell out, but selling is also difficult. Can they merge and take it publicly? And let the employees also be given an ESOP. So all of them are happy. They are able to retain the employees, not export them because they have the ESOPs in place. Is that possible? Yes, it is. It should be possible. If the merger process, if somebody can study the merger, I know it is simplified, but I have not gone into the fine print. Earlier, it was too difficult, 6 months process, court, all these was involved, and it was never an easy process. But I don't know. I saw something in the newspaper sometime back saying it's easier, much easier now. So this is another case scenario that possibly from the MSME side, I am putting forth to the CA Institute whether they can consider this. Thank you, madam, for all the inputs. And the next, Mr. Ravi spoke about a number of schemes from the central government. Zero effect, that is Z scheme, digitalization schemes, product improvements, common facility centers, cluster development schemes, Stand Up India. He talked about a number of case situations where MSMEs are put to difficulty. He spoke about, he gave his very transparent, advice to the MSMEs how to go for. It was not just, yes, there is a law, but yes, there are practical difficulties. I can even go one step further and say, even whatever, you may win the case, ultimately, can you get the money? It's a big question mark. Corporates have the money and the legal team to do whatever it takes. So you should be prepared, and you may not get anything at the end of the day. So the question is whether you want to keep on fighting and get into a negative mode, or whether you can, rechannel your energy and look at the positive side of the business and take it forward. Yes, that is something that somebody has to decide. I thank Mr. Ravi for coming in and deliver the speech and guiding all the MSME entrepreneurs. Finally, I thank Mr. Sudhanidhi, Bank of Baroda, who has talked about the various products with Bank of Baroda, how CIBIL score is linked to the interest rates, the different cluster programs, cash flow financing, GST receivable financing, contractor schemes, supply chain finance, value chain finance, and CGD, MSC has touched on it. So he has discussed and told us about the various schemes available with Bank of Baroda, how we can benefit as a group going with Bank of Baroda. Thank you, Mr. Sudhanidhi, for sparing your valuable time. Finally, I thank the organizers, the CA Institute, the Vice Chairman, Mr. Pannaraj, I think Mr. Pannaraj, and his office team of office bearers for organizing this seminar. Mr. Suresh, President of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, Madam Chitra, Secretary for being part of this and giving us all an opportunity to learn something from this. Thank you all. Thank you for the audience. Thank you all.
Thank you, one and all. With that, we have come to the conclusion of today's MSME Day celebrations. We will wind up today's program by national anthem. Let us all raise for national.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Please join us for refreshment and